Republicans are looking more and more cooked by the second, as there is actually a real chance Democrats can flip the Senate, which I didn't think was possible. Based on this race to the White House map, a lot of states that you think are swing states or even lean Republican states are now in more of a toss-up territory. One of the things that we have to look at is just look at how good this map was in theory based on how Trump did in the 2024 presidential election. And, obviously you had Maine, which did vote for Kamala Harris by about 7 points. So that is, an exception. But when you look at these states, like every other state that's up was in a state that Trump won. And Democrats are defending two states, Michigan and Georgia, in states that Trump won, albeit narrowly, by 1.4% in Michigan and 2.2% in Georgia. So we have this map going on right here, and you just look at some of the states and how they're projected to flip. First of all, obviously the states that Trump won by a lot are in the safe Republican category, like Oregon, where Merkley is projected to win by 24 points. Colorado, Hickenlooper is projected to win by 25 points. New Mexico doesn't even have a Republican candidate on the ballot. Illinois, Stratton is expected to win by 26%. Virginia, Warner is expected to win by nearly 20%. Delaware, Coons is projected to win by 25%. New Jersey, Booker is projected to win by about 17%. Massachusetts, Murkey is projected to win by 33%. And Rhode Island, Reed is projected to win by 31.3%. They are all in the safe Democratic category, as in these states, Democrats have a 97% chance or greater to win all of them, except in New Jersey, where it's 96.4%. And while I mentioned that most of these states were safe Democratic in the election, not all of them were. Obviously, Oregon, 14.3% is close enough. And, Illinois, 11% is also relatively large. Colorado also went to Kamala Harris by 11%. New Mexico, only 6%, but again, Democrats can have a candidate. But Virginia voted for Harris by 5.8% and New Jersey by 5.9%. These are states that you think that Republicans, in a more favorable environment would have a chance at. Not saying it'll be a very good chance, but a chance nonetheless. Republicans actually won the governorship in Virginia back in 2021 and also flipped the House of Delegates. Combine that with the electoral results, and one would think that that would be a state that's potentially flippable. Meanwhile, we look at other states. Minnesota, Flanagan is expected to win by 13.1 percentage points. And North Carolina, Cooper is expected to win by 13.3 percentage points. Minnesota is a state that Harris won by 4.2. So it's a state that you'd expect to be a bit more competitive, especially in an open seat. North Carolina voted with Trump by 3.2%. So the fact that, and I don't think Cooper's going to win that much, but the fact that, they're that confident on Cooper winning should be a huge red flag for Republicans. You also have other states that are competitive. Georgia, they're saying, is in the lean Democratic category, despite projecting Ossoff with a 7% chance of winning. This is because they base off percentages. Minnesota and North Carolina have, over an 85% chance of being won by Democrats. Georgia's only 78%, even though they're still saying Ossoff's going to win by 7. This is in a state that Trump won by 2 points. Michigan, a state that, is expected to go to Democrats by 5%, and there's about a 71% chance Democrats win in a state that Trump won by 1.4%. New Hampshire, 8% projected, more than a victory, and 3 in 4 chances the Democrats win. In a state, Kamala only won by 2.8, and it has a Republican trifecta on a statewide level. Finally, Ohio, 4.4% margin of victory, and about a 2 in 3 chance it goes to the Democrats. That's in the tilt Democratic category, along with Michigan. Whereas, Georgia's in the lean Democratic category, along with New Hampshire. But still, Ohio is in a state that Trump won by 11%, even though this might be an appointed seat. There's more reason, though, to suspect why Trump might actually be cooked. you have to look at, where the toss-ups are. And obviously Maine, Plattner's, only the 61% chance of winning, and Democrats are favored by 3 in this race, but it really is a toss-up, and maybe Susan Collins can win. Collins winning would be detrimental for Democrats having any chance of flipping the Senate. Texas, Paxton is favored by 2, assuming he wins the primary, which right now is also up for debate, and is saying he would have a 62% chance of winning. So a kind of toss-up in a state Trump won by 14 points. Looking at the lean Republican states, Alaska is still Republican, as Sullivan only has a 2 in 3 chance of winning and is only projected to win by 4, in a state that Trump won by 13 points. Nebraska is lean Republican, about 80% chance Republicans win, and favored by 7, in a state that Trump won by 21, although this isn't against an independent. Kansas, only 10.2% margin of victory projected, and only a 5 in 6 chance Republicans win the race, in a state Trump won by 16. Iowa, projected to go Republican by 7, and 3 in 4 chance that they win, only 3 in 4, in a state that Trump won by 13. Even, other states like Montana and South Carolina are forecast to be a bit closer than you'd expect. Given their leans, given how Montana voted for Trump by 20 and South Carolina by 18. What does this mean? Democrats actually have a semi-realistic chance to flip the Senate. I'm not saying it's super realistic, but they have a semi-realistic chance to flip the Senate. They could do it. Or they could severely cut into Republicans' margins deep enough that 2028 flipping is possible when you realize that there are only 2 real potential flip opportunities are North Carolina and Wisconsin. And you have to remember that in a lot of these states, we've not seen Democrats win these races in a very long time. When was the last time that we saw, a Democrat win any federal statewide election in North Carolina? The answer to that is 2008. In the cases of Florida, Ohio, and Iowa, 2012, before they all became safe Republican states, but now we're seeing a potential reversal of that, although Ohio Democrats did win a Senate race in 2018. And I did forget about that. And similar is with Montana, although that's not really projected to flip. But when was the last time we saw Democrats win a Senate race in South Carolina? We haven't in a while. Texas, 1988. So it's been a while since we've seen, any of this stuff happening.